or indirectly. The public sector's meddling is notorious, crowding out the entrepreneurship, innovation, and job creation that keeps markets free and healthy. Only about 6 million Argentines are employed in the private sector, while 55% of the country's registered workers are employed by the government. Over the last year, Argentina's debt has grown by an average of nearly $3 billion, 0.5% of the country's total GNP per month. The country's economy is burning through billions of dollars of foreign reserves on a weekly basis. My country's story is one of entrepreneurs disincentivized and replaced by government bureaucrats who recklessly and foolishly spend taxpayer funds only to raise taxes on private companies when those funds dry up. It's been this way for decades, and there's no end in sight. This is John McClory. Thanks for listening.
Did you serve in the military? Do you have access to your local Vermont or Western New Hampshire public library? If so, stop by and ask library staff for a free packet from the White River Junction VA containing information on benefits and eligibility. Library Gateways to VA is a project partnering the White River Junction VA with area public libraries. So stop by your local library today and ask for a Library Gateways to VA information folder.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The energy. We walked around for 35 minutes just in the parking lot looking for this car. The passion. UVM schedules the way they do to get as high a seed as possible in the NCAA tournament and to get as much tournament prep as they can because they're not going to get it from their league. The opinions on all your favorite teams. The organization should be taking care of Mac rather than Mac taking care of the organization.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? This is not a great Monday here on WDEV. Hope you are having a better Monday than I am. The Patriots lost. Mac's hurt. The sky feels like it's falling today, and it's raining outside now in Waterbury again here. So all it's done is rain. It feels like for the last week here. So not a great Monday. It's not a Patriots victory Monday. We're not on a good Red Sox weekend Monday. We're kind of down the dumps, everybody together today. You know what? We're going to get through it. Therapy for all of us here. Group therapy on the Brady Farkas Show for the next 40 minutes, 5:30 until 6:10. We're taking no commercials until 6 o'clock. We're talking about Mac. We're talking about the game, and we're talking about what you're talking about when it comes to the game as well. You can get in on the Napa-Morrisville, Napa-Waterbury text line 802-585-3026. Your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. You can also stream us video-wise on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or on my Twitter account as well.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
And the opening thoughts of the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber. They are Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Mac Jones has a high ankle sprain. He's going to miss time. Right off the bat, that's what you need to know. Now, the Patriots lost the game yesterday to the Ravens 37-26. That's not the story. The story is that the Patriots are without their starting quarterback, and I think they're going to be without him for a significant period of time. We don't officially know how long Mac's going to be out for. Mac was just at the podium just saying Patriots-esque cliches. I'm going to take it one day at a time. I hope I feel better tomorrow. He's not going to answer anything about this, but it seems likely that Mac Jones is going to miss at least 4 games, right? At least 4 games. That seems pretty universally agreed upon. The team won't say it. Mac won't say it. Everybody else seems to be in common agreement that Mac Jones is going to have to go on the short-term injury reserve. Okay? Injured reserve, short-term, is 4 games, right? You go on IR, you're missing at least 4 games. It could be longer. but the common thread is that he'll be out at least 4. Here's Dr. David Chow, who used to be the team doctor for the Chargers, and now he, just specializes in watching sports and analyzing injuries.
Expecting this to be an injured reserve 4 weeks because it's a significant high ankle sprain. It could easily leak longer than that. We would be surprised if he returned before 4 weeks. But then again, he's not exactly a mobile quarterback, et cetera. Maybe they tried to. If he were playing a position, there's no way. There's no way he's playing next week against the Packers. Lucky to contain it just to 4 weeks IR. Significant high ankle sprain.
So Chow says you would be lucky as the Patriots to contain this to just a 4-week IR stint. That is exactly how I feel also. If the Patriots are only without Mac Jones for 4 weeks, they will be very, very lucky. Now, obviously, different sports require different movements and all that, and every person is different. But when you Google high ankle sprain, the minimum you ever see is 4 weeks. You can see as much as 12 weeks. Again, different sports, but Mitch Haniger for my Mariners, high ankle sprain this year, missed 12 weeks. Missed 12 weeks. Now, that's a baseball player that needs to run around the outfield. It needs to hit. It needs to be able to run the bases. So I get it why it could be longer than a relatively immobile quarterback might need. Although Mac ran it fairly well and effectively yesterday, but nonetheless. So it's not apples or, these are apples and oranges scenarios. But 4 weeks seems to be the minimum. 3 months could be the maximum here. So nonetheless, the range of time missed for Mac Jones is going to be significant. Okay. Tom Pelissero, the NFL Network, says diagnosed with a pretty severe high ankle sprain. Dr. Jess Flynn, who we've had on this show before, she's a sports medicine physician at the Leahy Hospital and Medical Center in Massachusetts. She says she thinks Mac Jones could be out until late October or November. So late October, that would be 4 weeks. November would be 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. So we don't know what it is, but we know that the Pats are not going to have their starting quarterback for, again, a significant period of time. And it goes without saying, this is a huge blow for the Patriots. For the 2022 Patriots and any chances they have of doing anything substantial, this is a huge blow. Now, you all know that I don't think Mac is overly special. But this team, without him and with Brian Hoyer, that feels like one of the worst teams in the NFL, if not the worst. You are going to notice a huge drop-off between Mac and Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer is a great story. He's a nice guy. He works hard. He's a good mentor. Belichick loves him. I like Brian Hoyer, but Brian Hoyer is not a good quarterback. And Brian Hoyer is not a quarterback that can take the reins here for the Patriots and lead them to the playoffs. He hasn't started a game since 2020. Brian Hoyer has not won a game since 2016. Let me repeat that. Brian Hoyer has not won a game since 2016. So him playing instead of Mac Jones is a major, major downgrade. Again, Hoyer's a nice guy. He's a good veteran to have around, but he cannot lead this team long term. If he has to play long term, the Patriots are absolutely cooked. The absolute best case scenario, and I mean the very best case scenario for the Patriots, is that Mac Jones is only out for 4 games, right? And that Brian Hoyer can go 2-2. That to me is the absolute best case scenario, and that feels so unbelievably optimistic on multiple fronts. I don't even know if it's possible, but that would be best case scenario. The Patriots are going to play Green Bay this week in Green Bay with Hoyer starting, and they're going to get beat. They're going to lose, and they're going to be 1-3. After that, the schedule opens up. Detroit, who although I think Detroit is fairly good, but that game is at home, and it's still Jared Goff on the other side. So Detroit at home, Cleveland with Jacoby Brissett, and then you get the Bears at home on Monday Night Football. The absolute best case scenario, best, is max out just the 4 weeks and Hoyer can go 2-2. Hoyer hasn't won a game since 2016. So I have zero confidence that they can actually go 2-2. But if that happened, you'd be 3-4 and your season would not be over yet. But I have a great fear that my best case scenario is not going to be realized. Max certainly could be out longer than the 4 weeks. That would be catastrophic. Mac could just be out the 4 weeks, and you could go 0-4 in that time, and he could come back to a team that's 1-6. And if you're 1-6, do you even want to bring Mac back quick enough, or do you really want to let it go and let him get healthy? He could be out 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, I have no idea. But Mac, your season is very much teetering here by how long Mac Jones is out for. Okay? This Mac Jones timeline is the Patriots season. You know it and I know it. Again, they could go 0-4 without him and be done anyways. But if Brian Hoyer can manage to do something he hasn't done since 2016, which is win a game, but if he can manage to do something which he hasn't done since 2015, which is win 2 games, then possibly the Patriots are still in it. But it feels very, very bleak today. Backup quarterbacks just don't win very often in the NFL. When you go to your backup, most often a team is doomed. And that's just the way it works in the NFL, right? Matt Stafford gets hurt for the Lions a couple of years ago. Can you even remember who played? Tim Boyle, maybe? I can't. You're screwed when that happens. Okay, Russell Wilson gets hurt last year for the Seahawks. Geno Smith goes 1-2. Okay, 1 game. He got 1. Cooper Rush, we're going to see him tonight on Monday Night Football. He won a game last week for the Cowboys against the Bengals. Can he win 2? I don't know. But Chase Daniel and Tyrod Taylor and the P.J. Walkers of the world, they can only do so much. Joe Flacco's played 3 games in replacement of Zach Wilson. He's got 1 win. So backup quarterbacks can win you a game or so. They're not built to last in the NFL, and Brian Hoyer is not built to last. He's just not. And Ted Johnson, former Patriots linebacker who's now at NBC Sports Boston. Look, I have an immense amount of respect for him. Played the game, played at the high level, won a Super Bowl. He has forgotten more football this week than I have ever known. But I had to laugh at something that he said yesterday on NBC Sports Boston.
Look, I don't know if I'm that alarmed. I mean, let's face it, after the Green Bay game, the schedule gets pretty light, you guys. And so I feel like, believe it or not, you can win games with Brian Hoyer after this Green Bay game. This Green Bay game, if Brian Hoyer has to play in this, it's going to be tough. But I know you go back 2 years ago when he played in that Kansas City game. He did not have a good game. He was okay. I mean, but he lost track of timeouts before half. We all know that. Look, I think he's a smart guy. I think he's composed. I think he knows this offense inside and out. I don't think it would be as much of a drop if Brian Hoyer is in there as maybe what people think.
It would be horrific. If Brian Hoyer has to play a bunch for the Patriots, it would be a horrific drop-off. We'd see a team that was a run-first team, that was a check-down team, that was a scared, not aggressive team, and we'd see a team that relied on its defense and needed to win games 9-7. That's who the Patriots with Brian Hoyer would be. That's what the Patriots were with Brian Hoyer in 2020 when he had to start for Cam Newton, who had COVID when he played the Monday night game against the Chiefs. Kept it close in the first half, screwed up the timeouts, and then they got blown out and got benched for Jarrett Stidham in the second half. Okay, so Ted Johnson's great. That's a laughable statement to me. It's a huge drop-off. Most teams in the NFL, your starter to your backup is a huge drop-off. I would argue that Brian Hoyer is worse than Joe Flacco, who's playing right now for the Jets and who's 1-2. I would absolutely argue that Brian Hoyer is worse than Joe Flacco. I said 2-2 in the next 4 is best-case scenario stuff. It is. It feels borderline impossible that the Patriots could actually do that with Brian Hoyer. And then Ted Johnson says that Hoyer knows the offense inside and out. Not true either. We've spent all offseason talking about the Patriots' new offense and how no one has been getting it. This isn't the offense that Brian Hoyer knows inside and out. Brian Hoyer knows the Josh McDaniels offense inside and out. We're no longer doing that. He, too, is playing in a new offense that he is just picking up, that he is just seeing for the first time. So, no, this is not true. Peter says, yeah, exactly. What offense does Hoyer know better than anyone? We've been told it's a new system. Agreed. Ding, ding, ding. I don't see Hoyer beating anyone other than Chicago. That's another text. Very possible. And by the way, the Bears, for all their warts, they're 2-1. Okay? The Bears are 2-1. Do we think they're very good? No. But they are 2-1. They beat Houston, and they beat San Francisco in the driving rainstorm. So they're not a patsy either. Virginia in Starksboro says Matt Castle won 11 games. That was a horrific drop-off from Tom Brady. Yes, it was. Yes, he did. That's very much the outlier. Okay? Joe Flacco and Geno Smith, those are the regularities. That is what will happen to the Patriots. Mac is not transcendent by any means, but Mac is so much better than Brian Hoyer, it's not even funny. It's not even funny. No, Mac, that's not going to happen. I think it's far more likely that Brian Hoyer goes 0-4 in the next 4 games rather than Brian Hoyer goes to 2-2 that I'm hoping for. I think it's more likely he goes 0-4. And by the way, the best case scenario, I said Mac out for 4 weeks and Hoyer goes 2-2. The worst case scenario is that Mac is out for 12 weeks, out for 3 months. If that's the case, if we find out that Mac Jones is out for a long period of time, and we don't know that yet, but we played the best case scenario, we'll play the worst case scenario. If Mac is out for a very long period of time, I'm talking 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. If that happens, I would not go and sign anyone else if I were the Patriots. The inclination is always, who can we get off the street? Who can right the ship better than who we've got? And frankly, I wouldn't go down that road. I wouldn't go down that road. I think there is a huge drop-off between Mac and Hoyer, but I don't think there's a huge drop-off between Brian Hoyer and the other guys that are available here who haven't been in New England before. I wouldn't sign Cam Newton and bring him back as much as I love Cam. It was hard for him to pick up the system in New England the first time. It was hard for him to go to Carolina and play last year, late in the year, and learn everything there with Matt Rule. It's not a fair position to put him in, and he has said he doesn't like trying to speed learn an offense. So I'm not bringing in Cam. 33 years old, hasn't been playing, doesn't know the offense here, doesn't even know these offensive coaches. He's out. I'm not signing Blake Bortles off the street. I'm not trading for Andy Dalton. I'm not bringing in Nick Foles. I wouldn't sign Colin Kaepernick either because someone's invariably going to suggest that. I get it. Pat's new offense is supposed to be simpler, but I don't trust that somebody can just come off the street and learn it better, quicker than Brian Hoyer. If Mac is out for a long period of time, I would just roll with what I've got, sign a third-string quarterback to go and be the backup there, and that's it. I hope it doesn't come to that, but if it does, I'd roll with what I have, and I'd just be bad. Not tanking. I want to win, but I think I have a better chance to win with Brian Hoyer than signing Cam off the street. A better chance to win with Brian Hoyer than trading for Andy Dalton. That's just how I view things. Again, it's not a tank. I just play, and if I go 3-14, then so be it. Then I get a top draft pick, and if I want to replace Mac, I can have Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud fall into my lap and trade Mac, or I can get a king's ransom for a high pick and let someone else draft those guys, and now I can start to, again, reset my athleticism and my talent. If the Patriots go, play with Hoyer, go 3-14, and end up with the number 1 or 2 pick in the draft, then they have a real decision to make, right? They can draft the quarterback and restart the young quarterback clock and ship Mac off somewhere else, or they can trade the pick and, get a bunch in return for it. Well, hopefully it doesn't come to any of that. Someone says Arch Manning time, baby. Yeah, he's got to go to college first, so we'll see him in about 4 years on the draft. Another text says, bring back Cam. Just kidding. I love Cam, but Cam, it just wouldn't make any sense, right? We saw what Cam looked like at the end of the year last year in Carolina. So, hey, I told you, no commercials until 6 o'clock. So let's get to Unpacking the Patriots. Music, good.
Which Patriots popped?
To the 30, to the 20. He is end zone bound. Pick 6. Touchdown, Patriots.
And which ones flopped?
Jones steps up in the pocket, unloads a deep ball, and it's intercepted. That'll put the cherry on top.
We unpack the Patriots now on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
We unpack the Patriots every next day here on the Brady Farkas Show here on DEV. We go in order. We go in alternating order. Good first, then bad. We've got some of both. 37-26. Patriots lose to the Ravens yesterday. Pats now 1-2. Again, every other will start with the good. The Patriots are letting Mac Jones throw the ball deeper down the field, and the offense is producing more big plays. We've said it over and over again. The Patriots need to get more explosive offensively. We've said it in 2020, 21. We said it to start the year. Here, the Patriots yesterday were more explosive. Mac Jones took real shots down the field, and he produced big results on a number of them. Nelson Aguilar had big plays. Devontae Parker was huge yesterday. Kendrick Bourne was big yesterday. When you can do that, when you have a quick strike ability, it just changes the whole dynamic of your offense and of your team. And by the way, it opens up everything else for you. How many times last year did we see teams just stuff the line of scrimmage because they didn't think the Patriots could go over the top? Well, yesterday you showed that you could. And by the way, the next level stats bear out what I'm telling you also. Mac Jones is his depth of target. How far he throws the ball on every pass is averaging 10.4 yards. That's third highest in the NFL. Last year, he threw passes just over 8 yards. 20% of his passes have an air distance of at least 20 yards in the air. That's second in the NFL. So more chance taking down the field has produced more explosive plays. 8 chunk plays in yesterday's loss for the Patriots offense. Mac yesterday was not a check down player. It was not a check down offense. They weren't completely run heavy. That was a very welcome development. And for the first 3 quarters, Mac looked far more comfortable in the offense as well. The Patriots letting Mac cook a bit, that was very, very welcome, and that was pretty darn good yesterday. On the flip side, though, with the increased trust that Mac Jones has to throw the ball down the field, with that is coming even more poor decision-making. If they're letting Mac Jones air it out, I understand you're going to turn the ball over. I get it, right? Like if you throw it a bunch, picks are an occupational hazard. I can live with picks where you throw it and a one-on-one DB makes a great play. I can live with that. What I can't live with is you're down 5. You're in the red zone, and you throw off your back foot into triple coverage nervously while targeting Devontae Parker.
Ball on the left hash. 7-man front. Here comes the blitz. Jones backpedaling, throwing. End zone, corner, intercepted in the far corner by Marlon Humphrey. And the Ravens turn aside. The New England Patriots in the red zone.
I mean, you just cannot do that, right? Again, are you going to throw the ball a lot? Picks are an occupational hazard. I get it. Brett Favre threw a lot of picks. Andrew Luck threw a lot of picks. They're Pro Bowl players, and in Favre's case, he's a Hall of Fame player. Okay? You throw the ball, balls are going to get picked. I get it. But you cannot have poor decision-making, right? That cannot be. The Patriots have to win games in the margins, and they're not doing that when their quarterback turns it over in the red zone. That was not the product yesterday of anything more than just carelessness. A field goal would have brought you to 31-29, and a field goal could have potentially won you the game. Instead, it was a crushing pick. Back to the good. Devontae Parker showed up and showed out yesterday. That's the best game by a Patriots wide receiver in terms of explosiveness that I can remember in my 6 seasons here in New England, right? Julian Edelman put up big numbers before. Kendrick Bourne's had good numbers. Jacoby Myers has had good games, but those are more possession players. Yesterday, Devontae Parker was a big play threat. 5 catches, more than 150 yards, 31 yards per reception. That is unheard of for the Patriots. He got down the field. He gained separation. He brought an element yesterday to do this Patriots offense that it just has not had.
Jones wants Parker. He goes up and gets it. Even with his jersey getting yanked by Stevens.
We wanted N'Keal Harry to be a big play threat. We wanted Nelson Aguilar last year to be a big play threat. We wanted Josh Gordon to be a big play threat. Yesterday, Devontae Parker was the big play threat. Now, I think part of it had to do with the fact that Jacoby Myers didn't play. And I love Jacoby Myers. This team needs him ultimately. But I think yesterday, Mac was forced to look in other directions, and that probably contributed to the big day for Parker. He capitalized on Myers not being there, and he picked up the offense that needed it without their security blanket. Sticking with the wide receivers and the bad comment in the bad section of Unpacking the Patriots. This is the second time in 3 games this season that Nelson Aguilar has had a critical fumble in the fourth quarter.
Jones barking out signals, directing traffic to Parker, takes the snap. He'll throw over the middle. It is caught. Aguilar at midfield, inside the 40, stripped of the football. The ball will go out of bounds on the near side. The Ravens say they have it, and the officials agree. Marcus Peters has recovered the fumble. Wow!
Aguilar fumbled week 1 in Miami. He fumbled yesterday. You had the ball. There's 6 minutes to play. You're down by 5. You have a chance to take the ball into the end zone there, score, and get the lead. Instead, Aguilar coughs it up. You cannot have it. Yesterday was another day where the Patriots' formula failed them. For 20 years, the Patriots have been built on what? Winning games in those margins. And right now, they're not doing that. Patriots lost the turnover battle 4-2. They lost on special teams. Duvernay had a huge punt return that set up a score. They weren't good in the red zone defensively, where the Ravens were 5 for 5 in the red zone. Mac Jones throws a pick in the red zone. You fumble on your way to the red zone, and the Ravens go 5 for 5. I mentioned on Friday, you knew Baltimore was going to move the ball. You had to turn them away in the red zone, and you could not do that. Unpacking the Patriots, good side of the coin. While the defense itself wasn't particularly good, some individuals actually had great games, and I don't want to lose sight of that. How about Jonathan Jones? Good to have him back and healthy. He forced a fumble late in that game that Jabril Peppers picked up. He also had a pick in the second quarter.
Jackson over the middle. He gets intercepted by Jonathan Jones. Easy pick for Jones. Back to the 31.
So Jones involved in both Patriots' forced turnovers. That was big. How about Dietrich Wise, man? He was everywhere. He was the baby of the Fox television crew. They loved talking about Dietrich Wise. Dietrich Wise had 3 sacks in the first half yesterday. He's only the 4th Patriot in history to have 3 sacks in one half. He's the first since 2006. It's been 16 years. So what you saw from Wise yesterday, that is a rarity. Okay, he was awesome. And I said on Friday I wanted to see more Jabril Peppers. We did yesterday with Kyle Duggar out. He recovered the fumble that Jones forced.
Fake to Duvernay. Jackson gets away from Gottschall. Downfield, he's got Bateman. First grab of the day, and then the ball comes out. Jabril Peppers picks it up. Patriots have it inside the 40.
Yeah, I just like the athleticism there of Peppers, man. He's all over the field. I like that. What I didn't like was the defensive game plan. In fact, I hated the Patriots' defensive game plan. The Patriots blitzed Lamar Jackson a ton yesterday, and he absolutely torched them. Absolutely torched them. The Patriots got to Jackson a few times, and that was cool to see. It was cool to see them get some pressure. But when they got burned bad. Lamar Jackson blitzed on 49% of his dropbacks yesterday. Hey, newsflash, he's the best quarterback in the league against the blitz so far. He threw 3 touchdowns against the blitz. The best passer in the league against the blitz, and the Patriots let him solidify that. Letting Lamar Jackson stand in the pocket and throw, that is no longer the answer here. He's too good for that. I told you the blueprint on Friday was let them run, take away the pass, force them into 12 play 80-yard drives, forced them into 4 yards a carry and 5 yards here. Yes, they were going to move the ball. But what you didn't want was what happened yesterday, where Lamar Jackson, look, they led scoring drives of 335, 235, and 147 or something like that. They moved the ball, quick strike with ease. You're not built to score 37 points. You're just not. If they had just run the ball and shoot up 6, 8, 9 minutes of drive, I get it. You would have been tired. It would have been frustrating. But they would have limited their possessions, and they scored 21. That you had a chance to beat, and you didn't do it. So, more good Kendrick Bourne, by the way. I mean, he's only played 44 snaps this entire season. He's got, 6 receiving first downs. Kendrick Bourne was good again yesterday. On the downside, Miles Bryant muffed another punt. He didn't fumble it. He recovered it, but muffed another punt. And Hunter Henry still, his face might as well be on the side of a milk carton. So, look, Patriots lose. They're 1-2 right now. They fall 37-26 to the Ravens. That was Unpacking the Patriots. We do that every single post-Patriots game day. And now we're on to Green Bay, and we're on to life without Mac Jones. We don't know exactly how long it's going to be. Minimum seems like a month. Could be much longer than that, though. We'll wait and see what we find out. We'll answer more of your texts. We'll go quickly around the rest of the NFL from week 3. Then we'll get you ready for Red Sox baseball here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. While folks in Florida are no strangers to storm prep, and with Hurricane Ian set to hit this week, people are doing whatever they can to safeguard their homes. Philip Klein is filling sandbags.
Put them around the doors, any kind of openings that made where the wind and the rain may come in. So we have 3 doors we have to cover. Just make sure it's around the slider and the side door.
As for supplies, stocking up may be easier said than done.
Well, I walked in Costco's and I seen the line. As I'm walking in, the guy's like, we're out of water. I try to stop at Racetrack to get gas, and there was yellow things over the gas nozzle. So I'm like, I guess it's out of gas already.
Ian could hit the state as a Category 4 hurricane. The Dow hit a new closing low today, entering bear market territory. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
The cause of this selling is the exact same concern that investors have been feeling all year long. With inflation high, the Fed has been forced to push up interest rates.
Just over an hour away now from NASA's asteroid crash test. Here's CBS's Steve Futterman.
If everything goes as planned, the DART spacecraft will slam into a 500-foot diameter space rock, Dimorphos. All this is taking place nearly 7 million miles away from Earth. Scientists want to see how this will impact its orbit. What they learn here could help in the future if they ever have to divert an asteroid headed towards Earth.
We are learning more about a school massacre in Russia where 15 people, including children, died today. CBS's Tina Kraus.
Russia's investigative committee released video of the aftermath, including evidence they say references the Columbine massacre in the U.S. Images from the scene show pistols with keychains attached with the names Eric and Dylan and the word Columbine. Another photo shows cartridges of ammunition piled on a classroom desk with the word hatred written in Russian.
The gunman killed himself after the attack. Also in Russia, President Putin granted citizenship to Edward Snowden. He's a former U.S. security contractor who's been living in Russia since 2013 to escape prosecution for leaking classified documents on government surveillance programs. But staying there could mean Snowden gets drafted into Russia's war on Ukraine. The White House wants airlines to be more transparent. CBS's Stephen Portnoy.
The proposed rule would require airlines and travel websites like Kayak and Expedia to say up front when an airline would charge you more to select your seat, change your flight, or check your bags. The Biden administration says cancellation and change fees alone netted the airlines nearly $700 million last year, and that not disclosing them in advance hides the true cost of a ticket.
Experts say it could encourage more competition and better fares. This is CBS News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more.
WDEV also serves the Northeast Kingdom at 101.9 W270BR Island Pond.
For some people, all they need to know about weather is the high temperature for the day. But if you're one of those people who really wants to understand the hows and whys of weather, especially here in the Green Mountain State, then Roger Hill's Weather Classroom podcast is for you. Some of the topics I'll explore are the types of precipitation, global temperature averages, and tropical cyclones. Roger Hill's Weather Classroom podcast is available at WDEVradio.com, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Red Sox baseball comes up about 6 minutes from now. Red Sox taking on the Orioles. We will have the coverage for you again at 6:10. First pitch, 7:10. Connor Siebold against Jordan Lyles in that one. Quick whip around the text line and the rest of the NFL. We get a text that says, the Patriots postgame show did ask this, why did little Jordan Humphrey get way more snaps than Kendrick Bourne with Jacoby Myers out? Good question. We still don't know why Kendrick Bourne remains in the Patriots doghouse. When Bourne plays, he plays well, right? He's got 6 first down catches this year and another one called back because of a penalty. When Kendrick Bourne plays, Kendrick Bourne is productive. Now, I get it. The Pats don't always go 3 wide receivers, and they want to go 2 tight ends and 2 receivers. And I get all that. Maybe there's not room for Kendrick Bourne to play 60 snaps. But if Nelson Aguilar keeps fumbling, maybe Kendrick Bourne can sneak in and take some of his snaps away, because Kendrick Bourne has yet to fumble in the fourth quarter of a game this season. That much I know. Other things around the league. It was a really interesting week. There's only 2 winless teams through 3 weeks, and I feel like that's not normal. I guess I'd have to go back and look at and look at NFL history and see, how late teams are winless into the year. But Houston is 0-2-1, and they've been competitive. They lost by a touchdown to Denver. They lost by 3 to Chicago. And then the Raiders are 0-3, which is shocking. The Raiders are not going to go winless. They may not make the playoffs, but they're not going winless. So I think we're at the point where we're not going to have, an 0-12 team or whatever. And it's like every year we've got a team, it was Miami a couple of years ago, and then it was Detroit a couple of years ago, where it's like they're 0-7. Could they go winless? I don't think we're going to have that this year. The Raiders are too good to be in that conversation, and Houston is too pesky. So we're only down to 2 winless teams through 3 weeks. I feel bad for the Lions, man. I mentioned this on Friday. I have a lovable losers complex. Like, I like good stories, and I like teams and franchises that come back from the dead. And the Lions should be 2-1. They should be 2-1. But they choked away yesterday against the Vikings. Now, frankly, I want the Lions to lose their next 2 games because they're playing my Seahawks next week and they're playing the Patriots after that. So I'd like for them to be 1-4. I think they're going to beat the Seahawks, and they very well could beat the Patriots without Brian Hoyer. So they could be 3-2 by the time this is all said and done. But Lions yesterday, that was bad. Eagles look really good. Really good. Jalen Hurts looks really good as well. I got to tell you, too, Tom Brady just seems incredibly irritable.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot to it. So bad execution on offense at a time where we needed good execution and we didn't get it. And there was a lot of those times we had a lot of other bad execution. And I think the reality is when you do that, you don't have the opportunity to score points. So it was too many plays where we were behind the sticks and not good on third down, and penalties, turnovers, missed opportunity.
Yeah, Tom Brady just seems very, very irritable. And look, I'd be irritable too if my wife was not living with me and my marriage was on the brink here. I get it. Like, I understand, but he looks irritable on the sideline. He doesn't look like he's having any fun. He plays football because of how much he loves it. He doesn't look like he's loving it too much here. Celtics were at Media Day today. A lot of talk, obviously, about Ime Udoka. Tomorrow, we will have all the sound you need to hear from Celtics Media Day. The prevailing thought was that the players don't seem to be that clued into as to what's going on either. They all mentioned not really having a big idea of what's happening. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow as well. Bob Socci's also going to be with us tomorrow, the voice of the Patriots. He'll be with us as he is every Tuesday at 5:45. Some Red Sox baseball 2 minutes from now. The Orioles are 79 and 73. They're 4 games back in the Mariners for the final wild card spot. It's really 5 back because the Mariners have the tiebreaker on Baltimore. So 4 games back, really 5 with 10 to play. Orioles need all these wins they can get. As a Mariners fan, I'd love to see the Red Sox win these next 4 against Baltimore. Jordan Lyles against Connor Siebold. Lyles is 11-11 with a 4.50. Siebold's 0-3 with a 10.47. The O's have not put out their lineup yet, but have to imagine we see the regulars, Cedric Mullins, Adley Rutschman, the whole crew. Rutschman, who could win Rookie of the Year. For the Sox, Kike Hernandez is at second. He leads off. Rafi Devers is at third. Xander Bogaerts is at short. Alex Verdugo's in right. JD Martinez, the DH. Tristan Casas is at first. How about a couple of homers for Casas over the weekend against the Yanks? Rob Refsnyder is in left. Reese McGuire is the catcher. And Abraham Almonte, he's the center fielder, and he bats 9th. Red Sox playing all the regulars you'd want them to if you are a Mariners fan like me, with the exception of Story, who remains on the injured list. Thanks to everybody who got in on the text line. Red Sox baseball is coming up next. Sox looking to take game 1 of 4 from the Baltimore Orioles. Again, the Orioles in the race. The Red Sox looking to play spoiler. Full show podcast available on our podcast channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. Go follow us there, subscribe, get all of our shows and all of our interview content for free. We'll have more on Mac Jones tomorrow as well. This is the Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com, and the free WDEV radio app.